When you think of the Amazon rainforest, you probably think of this. But you probably don't think of this. We're on the Trans-Amazon Highway. A little bit back there, we ran out of pavement. This road covers 4,000 kilometers. It goes from the Atlantic coast all the way to the heart of the rainforest, but it doesn't really look like we're in the rainforest. And that's because all this land has been cleared. So our goal today is to cover about 500 kilometers. We hope to meet with a Catholic priest in the city of Anapu. His name is Padre Amaro, and he's at the center of a conflict that pits cattle ranchers, loggers, miners against people fighting to preserve the forest. But things have gotten a lot more complicated since we got here. As we get closer, it's hard not to feel a certain level of fear or paranoia with these warnings that we've received that we might be watched. And this is a place where there's been a lot of violence. There's a serious conflict happening in the world's most important rainforest. It all starts with something called deforestation. Here's how it works. The forest is cleared to make room for cattle, for mining, for logging. The problem is that the forest canopy actually protects the soil. And so every time the forest is cleared, within 10 years, that soil is depleted and pastures are abandoned. And so this creates a vicious cycle in which more forest has to be cleared to make room for more cattle, which are the biggest driver of deforestation in the Amazon. So why is this happening? The answer is simple: money. But as industry advances, indigenous reserves are being invaded, peasant farmers are being pushed off their land, and the world's most important rainforest is vanishing. At the center of this conflict are the people who live here. The Amazon is their home. It's where they live and work and raise their families and save money to send their children to college. This is complicated and it's messy. On one hand, you have the wealthy landowners. And when they see the forest, they see money. They see the timber and the gold and the room for their cattle. And on the other side, you have peasant farmers and indigenous people. And many of them, in this fight over the land, are being pushed off their property. Since the 1970s, hundreds of people have died in this battle over the land. One of the most prominent was an American nun. Her name was Sister Dorothy Stang. Sister Dorothy came from Ohio, and she moved to the Amazon in the mid-1970s. And she had this really cool idea. She created these two settlements, and inside of them, she taught peasant farmers how to farm on small plots of land and extract timber without destroying the rainforest. This became a model for conservationists all over the world, and it was viewed as a potential solution to saving the Amazon. But Sister Dorothy's idea, it wasn't loved by everybody. In fact, there were wealthy landowners in the area who believed their land was being stolen from them. And in 2005, Dorothy was murdered by two gunmen. She died with a Bible in her hand. Sister Dorothy's death was seen as a test case for Brazil's judicial system. Eventually, her killers were caught, they were arrested, and they were convicted. But in recent years, due to budget cuts, the security forces that guarded the perimeter to the two settlements have been eliminated. And as a result, outsiders have begun to invade the settlements, sell plots of land, and clear forest. But in spite of all of that, Sister Dorothy's legacy still lives on with this man, Padre Amaro Lopez. This is where Padre Amaro has been living for the last year, ever since a series of escalating threats forced him to flee Anapu. They culminated a bunch of trumped up charges, and so he's been here ever since, living under house arrest. This place, if you look closely, it's pretty much a straight up fortress with high walls, there's security cameras all around, and there's also security guards provided by the state.
Eu sinto presença de Deus muito forte quando eu entro dentro de uma floresta. Eu vejo a floresta como um santuário vivo do Deus presente na minha vida. É que, no caso, o ensinamento de Jesus é que a gente tenha vida e tenha vida em abundância, né? E para ter vida em abundância, a gente tem que ter o básico para o seu sustento seu, si e dos seus, né? Começa a defender o pobre, defender aquelas pessoas sem vez e sem voz, você se torna um incômodo para as pessoas que lucram em cima da desgraça do pobre, né? Então, assim, e aí você viver e pregar o evangelho, viver o evangelho, você tem que viver e defender esses princípios básicos. O objetivo dos movimentos que trabalham em busca de um pedaço de terra para os trabalhadores, o objetivo é colocar a terra na mão dos trabalhadores, onde eles possam ser os verdadeiros donos, né? É que as pessoas possam produzir e ter o sustento para si e para os seus, né?
This trip to the Amazon really changed me. I was shocked to see how much forest had been cleared, and most of it had been cleared in my lifetime. If the Amazon is destroyed, weather patterns would change all over South America and even impact our food and water supply here in the US. But Sister Dorothy was really onto something. She showed that people can live in harmony with the planet, but it does require some sacrifices and inconveniences. Her lesson wasn't just for those in the Amazon, but for people like you and me.